Hey everybody, Jason Cooper here from Kickstarted with another episode of Funded Friday. Today we're doing something a little bit different. Rather than profile a current creator, I wanted to introduce everybody to Daniel Falabella, who has a website called Prefundia, and I'll let Daniel sort of take over and tell us a little bit about Prefundia and what it is.
Sure thing. Prefundia, it's a very simple website in regards to technology that is behind it. But I think it's brilliant, obviously, because I'm one of the founders, so I'm a little bit biased there. And basically, the idea there is a lot of project creators spend quite a bit of time on production of their project. For example, rewards. If you're making, for example, a shoe, you're going to spend some time dealing with design, with manufacturing, and finding the right fit for what you're trying to accomplish. And during that time is basically time that you are not doing marketing for your project. So what we did is we built a website called Prefundia that allows you to spend that time creating a marketing strategy and driving traffic to your page so you can accumulate backers before you launch on Kickstarter. That way when you launch on Kickstarter or Indiegogo or whatever other crowdfunding platform that you have in mind, you already have a base of customers or backers interested in your project, and so you can ideally succeed in the first couple hours of your launch, basically.
Yeah, and the reason why I wanted, there's plenty of tools out there for people who are going to crowdfund that will help them. And I thought what you're doing is so great and so clean because people often don't realize the importance of launching strong and coming out with a campaign and having backers ready on day one. And they also don't realize that, it's ultimately your community that supports the project. More often than not, there are obviously exceptions to that rule, but usually it's people you know and your community of people and people that you've made contact with are going to back you, and it's sort of on you to be that discovery engine. And what I think you've done really well with Prefundia is create a platform that helps people accomplish those two tasks and do it well. I'm wondering if you can maybe tell me a little bit about sort of the inspiration for it and how you decided to create it.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of my partners, Prefundia, and we teach a course at Brigham University in college education on crowdfunding, and we launch several projects on Kickstarter through the course of the semester. So the students go from idea generation to prototyping to creating videos, taking pictures, making their pitch, submitting it for approval, launching it on Kickstarter, and then fulfilling all the orders in the period of 4 months. So we've been doing that for now a couple semesters, been pretty successful. So we raised $114,000 in our class. But as we've been doing that, and as we've launched our own Kickstarter projects as well, we've noticed that doing pre-marketing is essential, and doing something from scratch when you don't have a following, it can be very, very difficult to do pre-marketing. So we thought, man, it would be really nice if all the projects that are about to launch just go to a platform where they can all drive traffic to their project page, but also share the traffic that other people are creating for their own projects. So there's a little bit of cross-pollination of traffic, and we're building this community where people check for new cool projects coming soon. And so we thought it was cool, so we spent a couple weeks building it, and we did it. And basically, we just left it there. We just threw it outside on the web and see what would come up from it. And then we focused our efforts on other projects and other things that we thought would be that had a lot more potential. But then around 3 months ago, we were looking at our analytics and our key metrics on Prefundia. It was basically like, hey, I wonder how Prefundia is doing. We built it like 4 months ago. I wonder how that thing's going. And we were looking that not only Prefundia was working, but it was also growing. And we weren't doing absolutely anything with Prefundia. So we thought that was very impressive, and we thought that was validation for what we're doing. So now we're put a lot more focus and time and attention to it, and now it's growing exponentially, literally. And it's been more than growth. I'm just happy that other people are finding value in this project and this website and being successful in Kickstarter once they launch.
It's sort of ironic that you built a marketing platform that you didn't market, yet it's successful.
Yeah, that's right.
So, but it's definitely a good tool, and not necessarily endorsing it, but I think anybody that is considering launching a campaign should look into tools like Prefundia, if not Prefundia itself, to begin building that community. You call it pre-marketing, but really, yeah, it's a crucial aspect so that you're not launching and then hoping people find what you've created. It's certainly a good tool for collecting people that are going to be interested. Have you had any success stories as a result? Examples of projects that have used Prefundia and have now gone on to raise and had successful first days as a result?
Absolutely. And let me just clarify something here as well. I'm a big believer in doing pre-marketing for anything that you're about to do, even if it's a startup that you're not going to do on Kickstarter. And regardless if you use Prefundia, which is free or not, you should be doing pre-marketing. There is no reason why you wouldn't. I mean, it's time that you're spending manufacturing or finding out manufacturers for your product. Why not just use that time as well to create a following, right? So in regards to your question, yes, there's been plenty of success stories on Prefundia. Two of the most recent, well, two of my favorite ones is one is called the G-Stick mouse, and it's basically a mouse in the form of a stick, I guess you can call it that way. And they actually launched on Kickstarter the first round, and they weren't successfully funded, and they were looking into creating a better marketing strategy for the second round. And so they approached us and say, hey, we'd love to use Prefundia. And we said, yeah, sure, go for it. It's all free. And he directed some traffic there, and it was impressive because he actually accumulated hundreds of email addresses besides what he had done on Kickstarter previously that wasn't successfully funded. And due to those hundreds of followers that he basically got in a couple of weeks, he relaunched it and hit his goal like in less than 2 days. And now I believe he ended up doing $130,000 on Kickstarter as a result of it. So that was great to see how seeing the whole process, how it works. Most recent one is a project that is actually on Indiegogo. It's called AirTame, and it's a wireless device you can put in for your TV, where you can connect it to your computer, so you can be typing on your computer and seeing on your TV wirelessly, basically. And they use Prefundia, and what's interesting for them is they didn't get hundreds and hundreds of followers or thousands of them before they launched, but their conversion rates were very impressive. And so they had some page views, and the number of people converting to that from people putting their emails were really, really high. So they got over, I think, close to 100 new followers, and once they launched on Indiegogo, they blew up, and I think they're close to $630,000, and they still have several days left on their campaign. And like that, there's been plenty of other stories, and our success rates of people that do pre-marketing basically jump from whatever the Kickstarter average is, which I think is close to 45%.
Yeah, it's about 45%, I think.
Yeah, so it jumped that from 45 to 71%. People that use Prefundia first, or that do some type of good marketing, pre-marketing, ended up doing 71% are successful. And that's the numbers that we got from Prefundia. We see how they do once they launch, and 71 have been successful from people who use Prefundia.
That's really impressive, and I bet part of it is the fact that campaigns that are using Prefundia are at least thinking through that type of strategy and probably aren't willy-nilly like a lot of Kickstarter projects are in terms of their marketing campaign, but still it's extremely impressive. I wonder, you mentioned conversion rate. I wonder if you can share or you have any insights into the number of people that are following a project on Prefundia who ultimately decide to back it. Is there a metric there that you're following?
That's a great question, and to be very honest with you, there's not a systematic way to do that. We would have to go and ask each project creator, hey, can you please give us information about how many came from Prefundia, and sometimes it can be hard to measure. So we don't have any hard data on it, but we have seen projects that use Prefundia. We have several screenshots. We like to take it often of going through Kickstarter most popular projects, and we see a project that be on Prefundia all of the time under the most popular ones, and they're the first day or two of launch. And so for us, it's validation because we believe that most followers on the first day or two will probably come from Prefundia or whatever they have in their email addresses. And so we see consistently projects on being the most popular that have come from Prefundia. But we don't have any hard data on your question.
That's great. So just sort of wrap it up, because you told me that you'd actually done some of your own campaigns, and maybe how do you think that your experience in the past influenced what you've done here? And obviously it would have been great. I don't know if you had Prefundia as a tool when you launched your last crowdfunding campaign, but
We did actually. So, I mean, we've done several projects in the past. We love it. It could be very, very challenging, particularly in the side of fulfillment after your campaign is finished. And but one of the most recent ones we've done that just finished, I think, a month ago was a calendar, and as a very different and unique calendar. It portrays the whole year in one line, so you can see all 2014 in one line, and it's great for project management, or if you want to see spatially how much time there is between your mom's birthday and Christmas, for example, or how much time do you have to actually study for your final test or whatever it is. So it's a very unique calendar. And we used Prefundia for it, and we drove as much traffic as we could from it. We also benefited from Prefundia's own organic traffic, so we have around 30% of the traffic is our return visitors. So we're building this community, and we got plenty. We got plenty of email addresses from people willing to support it once we launch. So once we launched it, we became one of the most popular ones on Kickstarter as well, and I think it ended up close to $26,000 of funding, which was exciting for us, and we've done similar projects in the past like that as well.
what kind of traffic are you getting on Prefundia now, just organically, and then where do you suppose you're going to be in about a year?
That's a great question. So over the past week or so, I think we got close to 25,000 visits. So it's not huge compared to Kickstarter, which they probably have millions of visits. I don't know how often, but yeah. So this is growing. So we actually posted some updates on our blog, so prefundia.com/blog, that shows our metrics and how it's grown by time. And like I said, it's actually growing exponentially. So the traffic that we're getting now, it's like 10 times bigger than the traffic that we got a month ago, for example. And so we expected that in a month or two, we'll be doubling or tripling our traffic and the number of projects that we have on our site.
Well, that's great. So I just sort of wrap it up. I think anyone that's considering a project, or people that are looking for campaigns that haven't launched yet, that want to find projects in a new way, Prefundia is a great tool, and obviously it's still new enough that I think people who are looking for inherent promotion opportunities and community building tools, it's a great place to go. And I wish I had it when we did our campaign. I definitely would have used it. So thank you so much, Daniel. It's a cool project, and thanks for joining Funder Friday.
No problem. Good being here.
Great. So thanks. That's it for the episode. Be sure to check back next Friday for a new episode. And for more on our film Kickstarted, check out www.kickstartedmovie.com or follow us on Twitter @KickstartedFilm. Thanks.